Below the Bar podcast is not meant to be taken as legal advice. It is purely used for entertainment purposes. Corbin and I are not attorneys. In fact, we haven't even graduated law school yet.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate.
We don't even know if we're going to graduate. That's scary. So if you have any legal concerns, please, I urge you guys to seek an actual attorney. With that being said, I hope you enjoy this episode, and that's all I have to say. Hello, everyone. This is Below the Bar podcast. My name is Drew.
And my name is Corbin.
And today we're going to talk about a silly case called Garratt v. Dailey. I love this case. I think it's really, it's just a goofy case, man. This 5-year-old kid out there just, harassing his aunt.
It's crazy. Like, just the fact that such a big case came from what apparently is a harmless prank, in my opinion.
Right. I mean, as you can see as we go into the case, that she definitely suffered some harm. But yeah, it's really just a kid being a kid. But we'll dig into it. So, the overarching area of law that we're talking about is tort law, and a lot of you are probably, what the hell is a tort? Because I know I was when I first started. A tort would best be described as a civil wrong that causes somebody to suffer some type of harm or loss. The person who has committed the tort is liable, could be found liable to the person that they committed the act against. So examples would be, you have assault, you have battery, what else? There's false imprisonment. So that's, but this one we're dealing with, this is a battery case. And there's a couple of different elements that make up, obviously every crime has elements, every tort is going to have elements as well. And there's elements in battery. So,
I think the main aspect of battery in this case is whether there is the intentional part of the act that causes the injury here.
Yeah, this is a case that illustrates, intent. More specifically, I think it's, can a 5-year-old child
intend to harm somebody?
Corbin, I want you to close your eyes right now.
All right.
Think about when you were 5. All right.
Got it.
What do you know? What do you?
What are you
thinking about?
Not much. I'm really just being a kid, and really my next concern is, like, which one of my friends I'm going to see next.
Right. Yeah. Or maybe something about like Power Rangers. Or something.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. No. So it's kind of it's a funny case, but yeah. So, all right, you want to run through, I guess, what the elements of battery are?
Yeah, so basically the elements of battery are, 1, there's an intentional act done to cause a harmful or offensive contact or apprehension of such contact to another person. The next aspect of battery is that there is no valid consent, and lastly, there's no privilege to do what is done.
The act, okay, yeah. So that this, as long as the person didn't consent to, I guess in this case, the pulling out of the chair.
Yeah. So I guess we should probably explain what happened in this case with the 5-year-old. So basically, they were at like a little get together, and the 5-year-old Dailey decided that he wanted to sit down in this chair, so he pulled it out from underneath his aunt as she went to sit down. Gave
her the old, now you see me, now you don't.
Yeah, it's just, in my opinion, it seems like this kid saw the chair, wanted the chair, and grabbed it. And I know that in the first case, he basically says that he realized too late that his aunt was about to sit down, and he tried to get it back in time, but that didn't happen. Sure.
Again, he's 5, what was this, the 1950s,
1950s.
I don't know. I feel like musical chairs was a big game in the 1950s, and kids were kind of taught to steal.
Yeah, even when we were kids.
You're taught.
It's still a game.
Come on, Garratt. Okay, so that's exactly what happened, and I just, so the mom. I think it was his mother and his aunt. Garratt was his aunt, correct?
I believe so, yes.
Yes, there was this relationship, this familial relationship.
I mean, you know how often your aunt sues you.
All the time, man. My aunt and I.
Going back and forth.
Just a brutal time in the Kerr household. So, the mom, Garratt, or Dailey's mom, and his aunt are sitting there talking. Maybe, what do you talk about in the 50s? Nuclear war?
Yeah, Cold War.
Cold War, yeah. So they're talking about that.
Just having a good time.
And then the Garratt just comes over, this little sandbox sociopath, and just rips his chair out from under his aunt.
Yeah, he just wanted her to die. Apparently, that's seems to be the underlying point in this whole case, is that this 5-year-old was set out to seriously hurt his aunt.
Inflict some serious, and she did get seriously hurt. I mean,
yeah, she broke her hip.
Yeah, I mean, and I know we're laughing, guys, and this is a serious thing, but. I mean, you just can't help when, some of these cases you read and just the fact patterns are just kind of ridiculous. And just the idea of an aunt suing her 5-year-old nephew is just, I mean, that's funny. That's a little silly.
Yeah, it's just a strange thing. And it's, again, such a big case in tort law.
Yeah.
That came from a 5-year-old pulling out a chair.
Yeah.
From underneath his aunt. Like, it's just strange. Like,
so he pulls his chair out. She falls, breaks her hip, and then she ends up suing him for the injuries that she sustained to her hip.
Yeah, and I believe so. In the original trial, the court basically says that he could not have planned. Like, he didn't mean to injure her. That how he described it was he pulled the chair, realized she was sitting down, and tried to get it back. But apparently she didn't believe that, and the court did say that there were about $11,000 in damages, including her broken hip.
Yeah. Well, she won, didn't she? Or no, he won.
At first he won, yeah.
And then she appealed,
yeah,
which is also funny.
She was not happy with this.
No.
Case. She was like, nah, I am going to get my money.
Now listen here, you
5-year-old.
5-year-old, you're going to learn your lesson, all right? So Dailey, I keep getting the names mixed up. Dailey's the 5-year-old. He wins. Garratt, the aunt, she appeals. Okay, so on appeal, I think she ended up. That's what you're saying, that the court ended up awarding her.
Yeah.
The $11,000 in damages plus costs.
Yeah. So basically, the court on appeal said that he did have the intention, and even just being 5 years old, he knew what he was doing. He knew that she was going to get injured.
Yeah. I think they used some specific language, too, because the overarching issue here is, did the kid have intent? Can you form intent? But then it boiled it down a little further. It is, what does it mean to act with intent? So the court ended up saying that this kid acted with substantial certainty that his aunt would try to sit on the chair at the time that he moved it. And they reasoned because she was in the act of seating herself when he moved the chair, that illustrated his knowledge that she was, going to sit in this chair.
Right. And, I mean, I guess I could see that argument, but at the same time, he's 5.
He's 5. We're going to say that a lot. We've been saying that a lot. He's 5. It's just goofy. It's funny,
even if that was the case, I still just think of it as a harmless prank, which I know she ended up breaking her hip, but still,
Yeah, I mean, there was an injury, but I don't know. I would like to think that if, I don't know. Let me put it this way, man. I'm a very bad gauge as to what, developmental, I have a niece, and, I'll see a video of her walking, and I'm like, my God, she's walking. And my mom will be like, yeah, Drew, she's 8. And I'm like, I don't know.
Right, yeah. I have a 7-year-old niece, and I can guarantee you that if she pulled a chair out from under me, even if I broke my hip, I would probably just laugh.
No, you'd sue her into oblivion.
I would just take her for everything that she's got.
As you should. Give me all you don't have money, give me your Legos.
I'll take everything.
Yeah, those are worth a lot. So,
next birthday party, I get all of your presents.
All your gifts. All your gifts. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, so that's really it, guys. This is a short case, but it's an important one because it's taught in a lot of 1L classes in tort law to illustrate this, this idea of intent and what it takes to have intent.
Right, yeah, and I think that's probably going to be a big thing that we do, at least at the beginning of Below the Bar, is we'll be hitting a lot of bigger cases that we find funny, even though they are really substantial to the laws that we have today.
Sure.
I know we have a couple planned for later, but I also think that if anybody has any ideas, that they should send them in, and we can read them and see what we find funny about those. Find out the takeaways from them, and just kind of joke about those ones as well.
Yeah, absolutely, guys. So if you have any cases that you would like to hear us kind of, talk about, and kind of, give you an informative yet fun analysis of the case, it helps us. It'll help you guys. I mean, I hope you guys enjoy this. You can just send us a message on Instagram at Below the Bar Podcast. And we would be happy to, take submissions and go over various cases. Whatever, it doesn't have to be torts, obviously. Any area of law.
Yeah, just anything you think is funny. Yeah. Like I said, we have a couple that we think are pretty funny coming up. If you have any suggestions, any tips to help out the podcast, just let us know, I guess.
Yeah, so I guess just let this be a lesson to all of our 5-year-old listeners out there that, maybe if you, lock your uncle in a utility closet, you might have the requisite intent.
Yeah, just because you're 5 doesn't mean you get to joke around.
You can't escape the long arm of the law.
No.
All right? Now go to preschool.